academically was the best, where they taught us with all the notes, all the basics, with covering each unit.
Please tell me, why did you choose academically to be part of this journey?
I actually had four other options, which I looked into before joining academically.
A lot of students come to me asking, are we falling back somewhere? How do we compete? What advice do you have for students?
At the end, when you look back to the academically MCQs, they're all complete and more with proper options.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Snigdha Sharma, Academic Care Medical Courses at Academically. Today is 5th of June, and we just received our AMC MCQ CAT result today. And with us, we have Dr. Sumaya, who has qualified this exam. Congratulations, Doctor.
Thank you so much.
How does it feel?
It feels good. I feel a little bit overwhelmed, but I'm glad that I have passed with the help of academically.
Okay, so tell me, when and how did you begin this journey to go to Australia?
Well, I have came to Australia 2 years back, but I started my preparation just a year back with
Okay.
academically, and
Yes.
it took me around 6 months to, because I had a gap of 3 years after I graduated from my med school. So I started around, like, I needed a basic brush up because I had a 2 years gap from my career.
Mhm.
So academically was the best, where they taught us with all the notes, all the basics, with covering each unit, obstetric, gynec, rheumat separately. So that was a very big help for me because I needed that brush up from each unit separately. So
Okay.
that's what I found great about academically. They covered all the subjects individually, and they covered all the topics which I felt was which I needed the most.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Sumaya, now that you have told me that you're onshore, tell me why being onshore, you could have found a lot of other options, right? Where you could have joined one-on-one classes. Please tell me, why did you choose academically to be part of this journey?
Because I actually had four other options, which I looked into before joining academically. I took the demo classes. So in the demo classes, I found the way of teaching difference. So the way of teaching of academically is complete different, because that's what I mentioned. They take from basics, while
Yes.
which I took three demo classes which belonged to Australia itself. One was Melbourne based, and the other two were Sydney based, but they were not taking basically, they were just solving recalls and giving discussions about the recalls, which I felt would be helpful when you are good enough with your basics, which is at the last moment of your exams, but not when you are starting your preparation. So that's what academically was helping with brushing up your basics. They were taking all the subjects individually and giving us MCQs to solve them individually, subject wise, which was great help when you're starting something where you're confused. So what I personally felt was, like, with academically, I made my basics strong, and
Mhm.
later on, I in the last month, I entered the recalls and discussions so that
Okay.
I don't get confused and overwhelmed. So I,
Okay.
I was good enough with my basics. Yeah.
So, being onshore also gives you a lot of exposure to opportunities which people who are sitting in their home country don't get.
Yeah. Uh,
And a lot of students come to me asking, are we falling back somewhere? How do we compete? What advice do you have for students who are supposedly staying in South Asia? And how will you tell them to, what will be your experience for them, advice for them being onshore?
well, honestly saying, being onshore or offshore, it's just the same thing you go through. It's the exam you have to give, the MCQ exam, you have to clear the clinicals, and then you have to go for the job hunt. It's nonetheless the same, even if you're onshore or offshore.
See, guys,
So yeah,
so Dr. Sumaya is literally like, she chose academically from a lot of options. She liked
yeah,
the methodology that we have adapted. And personally, even for me, being a medical student, I like if something is built up from the basics, like you said, and the MCQs. Uh, so now that we're talking about the MCQs, how many times were you able to attempt them? just to get an idea.
So basically, with I last after covering all the topics, a whole month I gave to solve the MCQs provided by Academically, and later on I gave another month to solve all the recalls, which I got from other sources. But then it I felt they were all incomplete. But at the end, when you look back to the academically MCQs, they're all complete and more with proper options and with more proper questions explanations. Whereas all the other MCQs which I was getting from other sources, like I joined a group, just it was a free group, but then I found that the questions that we were discussing were incomplete. So that's what the difference I found.
Thank you
Joining
so much,
two
Dr.
groups,
Sumaya.
yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean, trust me, like today morning itself, I was having this discussion with my program manager. She was like, ma'am, you are providing only limited number of questions for recall discussion sessions and not like too many like other sources are. Why are you doing that? So I told her, see, you can make a lot of questions, but they will be incomplete. They won't have the same difficulty level. I tried to give them quickly in a week the newest of the questions with the best possible stem and the
Yeah.
options and explanation.
Yeah, so that's what I felt when you posted on the group portal the February 2026, March 2026, and April 2026. We were also receiving the from other sources as well, but they were all repeated 101 times. They were wasting our time scrolling through numerous PDFs. Whereas if you just review the academically previous, they are non-repeated and more organized and more time consuming. So that's what I felt personally.
Thank you so much. Like, it's like I had this discussion 3 hours back and you were just validating what I was saying. Thank you so much for that.
No
So,
problem.
any last moment advice that you would like to give students how to plan their last 1 week of preparation?
So, with the last 1 week of preparation, I would suggest go through the week's recalls and revise those topics and stick to them rather than revising the nth notes you have made, because the recalls is the way to pass the exam. If you do the recalls of that specific week, it's the key to pass the exam. And not just the recalls, but going through the topics in deep with the recalls.
Yeah, okay. Okay. How many questions would you say they should be attempting? Like, I usually tell them 100 with a back study. But do you think you can, like, a person at the last 15 days can attempt more than that?
Yes, if you're giving 13 hours every day, then you can go more than 100. And
Okay.
depends on your capacity. I was doing more than 100, so yeah, you can do if you're
Yeah.
giving all 13 hours into the study.
Okay. Okay. So that's a great last minute study plan. So what's next for you, Dr. Sumaya? How are you going to go ahead about step 2? And are you going to apply for any jobs now?
Well, for now, I just received my exam an hour back, so yes, I have to figure that way. And I know that academically is there to guide me through because I have received call from Dr. Sona and she was telling me that she will guide me through, and I'm glad because that's the guidance we students need at the moment because we are
Yes.
confused and we don't need where to start again. So
True.
yes, I would appreciate academically guiding me through that process as well.
Uh, Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sumaya. I finally saw that smile on your face that I was waiting for. You were relaxed and calm, but that smile now came on your face. And I'm glad.
Yes. I'm actually quite overwhelmed, nervous. It's a mixed of emotions when you get the result which were you preparing for an year over. So yeah, it's a kind of mixed emotions at the moment.
It's like that calm, that, okay, fine. I've crossed that line, right?
Yes.
I was
So it's
here,
the
now
begin of your new journey now. You have passed the step one. Now you enter into the actual hustle.
yes. And you'll
Yeah.
finally, your career, which was on a halt, will get back on your path. So, on that
Yes.
note, Dr. Sumaya, congratulations once again. And we'll see you for the further sessions of guidance next week.
Thank you so much. Thank you.